The opinions expressed on the X and Y show are the sole opinions of the host. Please note, there is no intentional desire to offend any member of the listening audience. With that said, if you still feel offended, tough shit.
It's time for the X and Y show with your host, Mr. Roosevelt. He talks about man topics, lady topics, and relationships. He talks about love, sex, and infidelities. He even gives good tips. There is no other show that compares to the X and Y show.
Oh yeah. Sit back, take your clothes off, and relax. It's time for the X and Y show, where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. The only place on the planet that tackles the topics that everyone wants to talk about, but no one is brave enough to address. Nothing escapes X and Y, baby. Now, here's your host, Roosevelt Colbert.
And greetings. It is the 100th episode of the X and Y show. It is the 100th episode of the X and Y show. Oh my goodness, 100th episode. I never thought I'd get this far. Oh man, I'm glad to be back. For those of you who listen to the XY show religiously, which all of you should be doing, I've been out for a little bit. I got sick. Shit, I thought it was just a cold. I was coughing and it wasn't getting any better. And I had that dry cough, so I thought, I caught pneumonia a couple years back. And I thought I was catching it again, so I went to urgent care and did a little checkup. And they said, no, it's not that. You don't have pneumonia. You just have an upper respiratory infection. So I was like, okay, how do we get rid of this shit? So they gave me some antibiotics, and I got better. But I was sick for about 3 weeks, and so I couldn't record. And, I was just feeling real sick. I thought I was getting better, then I wasn't getting better. I was getting worse. And and I still have like that, the last stage is that cough. The last stage, that cough is always the last one to go. But, I'm probably about 85% right now. A lot better than I was about a week and a half ago. So, I'm glad I got sick before the holidays. Because, I want to be drinking and, fucking and all. I want to be having a good time. I don't want to be lingered by no sickness. So, glad I'm getting out the way. Now my antibodies are up in my body. So, I don't get sick a lot. So that's once a year. So I should be good for at least another year. So it is the 100th episode of the XY show. I'm proud of that achievement. And the XY show going to be doing bigger and better things in the upcoming year. I got some things coming down the pipe. Keep an eye out. So we're going to get better and better, and hopefully increase my exposure. I'm on some good networks, but I always room to grow. So, over 100 episodes, I'm happy where I am now, but I still need to grow, so there's still work to do. And, with your help, I will get there. And before you know it, it'll be 200 episodes. So, and I'll be talking to Halle Berry or something across from me, and she'll be looking at me and saying, congratulations on your 200 episode, and I'd like to give you a kiss if you don't mind, and, that kind of stuff, the real rewards. Oh, all right. I'm going to jump into this letter here. I'm just so happy to be back. I'm only going to do one letter tonight, though. Okay. This is from Angela. Angela says, heard your episode on men fixing things. I totally disagree. What is wrong with wanting my man to fix the toilet? Fix the toilet, lay towel, or plaster a room. I think that is what makes a man. Okay. Well, Angela, I if you listen to my episode, there's nothing wrong with wanting a man to do all this shit. But the problem is a lot of men can't do all of that. A lot of men can't lay towel. A lot of men can't plaster a wall. A lot of men can't do plumbing. Like me. Shit. I mean, there's a lot of shit that I can't do. There's some shit that I can do but won't do. So I don't think if you listen to the episode, there's nothing wrong with that. But if, you want things done and your man can't do it, right? He's not able to do it, or he's not willing to do it, then what's wrong with him going out and getting someone to do it? A lot of you saying, well, we don't have the money to be paying. Well, you shouldn't be doing that shit then. If you don't have the money to pay somebody to do it, then that's probably some shit you shouldn't be doing in the first place. So my point is, if you can't, what's the difference? If your man fixed the plumbing, or he gets somebody to fix the plumbing, who gives a fuck? Long as the plumbing get fixed. That was my point. Because a lot of men just can't do that shit. They wasn't taught, or they don't have the desire to learn how to do that. It's different people, different strokes, different folks. So there's nothing wrong with wanting your man to do that. But if he can't do it, or he's not willing to do it, then what's wrong with him getting someone to get it done? The bottom line is, as long as the job get done, who gives a fuck who does it? All right, Angela, I hope I answered your question. Oh, I'm so happy to be back. I'm here drinking my coffee. I got this coffee here with the Snickers flavor. This shit pretty good, too. Feels good on the throat. So, let's jump into this week's episode. Now, I just want to warn you, for women out there, you probably going to get pissed after this episode. What I'm going to talk, to you tonight about. A lot of you are going to get angry with me from some of the things I say. But, I don't give a fuck about all that. I don't give a damn. Get mad. But some of you need to hear the truth. And some of you men need to hear the truth. So-called men need to hear this episode tonight. I think it's very important. I think it's something that I actually been wanting to talk about for a while, but just haven't had the chance. And, it wasn't that I was avoiding it. It was just, it just didn't come up. But now I'm doing it. So, tonight's episode. Are families weak because the roles in a marriage are not right? Let me repeat that. Are families weak because the roles in a marriage are not right? And what I mean by that is most families today are actually being ran by women. And I'm talking about families with a two-parent household with the mother and the father in the household. But the women are calling the shots. A lot of families are like that today. When I was growing up, it was opposite from what I've observed. Certainly in my household, my daddy, he ran shit. Now, my mom was my dad was the king, my mom was the queen. She had power. She had power, but my dad had the ultimate power. And he ran the house. And when he put his foot down, that's the way it was going to go. And I think that, it taught me, how a family should be and who should actually lead the family. The man should lead the family. A lot of you women say, no, it should be 50-50. No, it shouldn't. It should not be 50-50 when it comes to leading a family. Leading a family is the role of a man. A lot of you said, oh, that's misogynistic. It's not fucking misogynistic. It's the way it was supposed to be. It's the way it should be. A man should be the leader of his family. A man should be the protector of his family. That's the way it should be. That's the way it was designed. But, now in new times, with the new women movement and all that shit, a lot of women run families. And, a lot of men these days are so weak and pathetic that they actually allow that shit. And, they just step aside and let the woman be the leader of the family. I can't, I'm laughing, but I can't even conceive that shit. I can't even imagine me doing some shit like that. Just standing aside and letting my wife run things. That's the most pathetic shit I ever heard in my life. But you'd be surprised how many men out there are doing that. How many men actually listen to my voice right now with their wives, knowing that their wives are the leaders of the family. And that's the problem with today's families, because it's a cycle. And I'll get back to that in a moment, but and some women out there are saying that, I had to take control. I had to be the leader because my husband is not the leader type. Okay, well, that's not my problem that you married a pussy. You married a weak motherfucker. That's not my problem. That's not society's issue. That's your problem, that you married a weak motherfucker. So, just because you married someone weak doesn't mean that it justifies you as being the leader of a family. And you married this guy because, he got a good job. He got a big dick. I don't know. Who knows? But he's not the leader type of a family. So, a lot of women feel that they have to take that role. And again, it's not my problem you married a weak motherfucker. But that is the result of a cycle. Your husband is a weak motherfucker because he probably come from a family. His father's probably a weak motherfucker. So that's the way he was raised. That's the way he saw things as being, this is the way it should be. The wife should be in control. So I'll just step back. Kids come ask, Dad, can I do that? Go ask your mother. What? How many times have you heard that? Dad, want to know if I can I don't know. Go ask your mother and see if that's okay. Huh? How many times have you heard that shit? And it's a cycle. It's like some men are taught that, they're weak. because their fathers were weak, right? And if their fathers are weak, their grandfathers is probably weak. It's a cycle that continues down the generations unless somebody step up and stop it. But, when you have a weak man, then they raise weak boys who grow up to be weak men. When you have a weak man, they raise daughters to see this false shit of how things should actually work. Oh, so the daughter is thinking, so the woman is actually the leader of the family. Because daddy doesn't run the family, mommy does. So you fucking up your daughter and your son's head. Because you're weak. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a man is supposed to run shit. A man is the leader, A man is the general, the woman is the colonel. A man is the king, the woman is the queen. Whatever analogy you want to use, the man should be number one. And I think that is the problem in today's society with families. Too many women are out of their roles. Too many, I'll say it again for those of you who didn't hear me. Too many women are out of their roles. Women are running shit and they shouldn't be. They should not be running shit. Not when it comes to a family. Not when it comes to running a home. That's a man's job. So you call me misogynistic, I don't give a fuck. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it is. That's the way it will be in my house. My wife will not be running me. I will be the leader. I will be the decision maker. I will have the role as king. Now let me step back a minute. I don't want you people to think that I believe that a woman's place is to just shut up, cook, give me some pussy, and, shut up, go to bed, give me some pussy, cook. That'd be nice, but no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't want a woman like that. No. I'm not saying that. Like, for example, on financial matters, right? If you have a woman she might have a degree in accounting and the father is a construction guy. Well, obviously, if it comes to making financial decisions and financial input and financial recommendations, the wife is the one who should probably be have a dominant presence when it comes to financial issues, because she's better than, she's probably going to be better at it, I'm not saying that the husband shouldn't listen to the wife, no matter what, it is. I'm not saying that. Some things the women are going to be better. And a real man would know, well, my wife has a degree in accounting. Okay, let me shut the fuck up, and listen to her, what she has to say. That's what a real man would do. A real man would say, okay, my wife is good in accounting. So maybe I should have her here helping me with these monetary decisions. She's good with the financials. Or maybe the wife is an architect, and you guys are buying a new house. Well, obviously your wife knows the stuff that you guys should be looking for, what year it was built. If they have cast iron piping or they have plastic piping, the roofing, the way they did, it was higher elevation, it was all kind of shit. She would know all of that. So a real man will say, I'm going to listen to my wife in this, and we're going to make a decision together. So I'm not saying that, when a man makes a decision, it's his decision and nobody else's decision matters. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. I actually would not want a wife like that. But what I am saying is the ultimate leader of a family should be that of a man. A man should be the focal point of a family. A real man should teach his son how a family is actually supposed to be run. A real man should teach his daughter how to support her husband in being the leader. That's what a real man would show his family. And then thus the cycle continues in the right way. Not raising a bunch of punk motherfucking boys who grows up and be punk fuck motherfucking men, and standing aside and letting the women just run shit. That's what's going on today. So many women are in control of the families. And that's why it's so fucked up. Boys growing up to be soft. Yeah, I said it. Boys are growing up to be soft and punk and weak motherfuckers. Girls are growing up to have a false sense of how a family should be run. And they grow up with that bullshit into women and try to strong arm men like, you're going to listen to what I say. And thus, that's why a lot of women are not married. Because, a lot of times, I guess it's hard to find a weak motherfucking man who's going to bow down to them and adhere to their rules. So it's hard for a woman who believes that is the norm to actually find someone. So a lot of them are walking around single because they can't find that weak motherfucker like their father was. So you see the cycle that it produces just from that man being weak. That initial man being weak, the father being weak, the grandfather being weak, great-grandfather being weak. It's a continued cycle. And it's catching up to us because society is getting even more fucked up. A lot of women out there are so dominant in their fake roles, and families are so fucked up, and it translates into crime. A lot of young men are out of control. A lot of women believe that they don't even need a man to run a family. Don't get me, that's another episode, but a lot of women are they don't even need a man to be there. How fucked up is that? They can run it. They can do the shit. It's not supposed to be that way. The man is supposed to be there. The man is supposed to be the leader of the family. Ladies, you need him. Man, you need that woman. You need her support. It shouldn't be your way or the highway. And that's not what I'm saying, men. But you are the leader. And a real leader knows when to take input from his queen. But ultimately, the man is the leader. Man is the leader. That's the way it was set up to be. I'm going to read a little passage from a story by Gianna Brenner, whatever the fuck it is. She did a study back a few years ago. Women are in charge at home. And and I just want to read a passage that she says in her story. It says, men might throw their weight around in office, but at home, women are the bosses. A study, which was just released, finds that wives have more power than their husbands in making decisions and dominating discussions. Now, that doesn't surprise me because, women like to talk. And a lot of times, I understand that men actually just throw their hands up and say whatever because they don't want to argue. I'm like that. I don't like to argue all the fucking time. But, 9 times out of 10, I would say 96% of the women like to run their fucking mouths. They like to argue and very... It's in their DNA. They can't help it. I'm not putting women down for that. They can't help it. It's the way, it's just in them. That's the way they're designed to fuck with you verbally. So, I think that's some of the problem as well. That a lot of men, instead of arguing and bickering back and forth, they just say, fuck it. You take it, whatever. And they give up their power and say, I'm sick of it. You do what you want to do. I'm done. And the women win, and she makes the ultimate decision. She wins the battle. And after years of this, she's running shit. Because, the guy was throwing his hands up so many times that, she's actually running shit. Because, he, instead of being in an argument or a situation where the atmosphere is, very heated, he'd rather just say, concede and say, look, whatever, okay, you take it, it's yours. You made the decision, I'm out of it, I'm done. A lot of men fell in that trap. After a while, they started conceding their power, and after a while, they don't have any power. The women are running the families. Even their kids know that, who do you go to? Who's running the family? Mommy. What? I mean, you ask them. You ask your kids, or I'm sure some kids that who do you see running the family? I guarantee you more than 50% will say, Mommy. She's the leader of the family. What she says goes. See, I would have never said that in my household. My daddy was running things. And my neighbors, in my neighbors' homes, next door neighbors across the street, the whole neighborhood, the fathers were running. I was different era. Different generation. There wasn't so many weak men back then. And I hate to use that term, keep using that term, weak men, but, that's what it is. A lot of times, a lot of days, so many weak men out there. And because of those weak men, we're losing control of our families. Losing control of our sons who grow up to be men. And they grew up to be weak men because that's what they saw. That's what they grew up with for 18, 19, 20 years. Seeing their father concede like a weak motherfucker to the mom. So they grow up thinking that shit is okay. But it's not okay. That is not the way it should be done. That's not the way it was intended to be done. And that's not the way it can continue to be done. That shit has to stop. So, the question is, are families weak because the roles in a marriage are not right? Yes. Yes. The roles in the families are not right. The women are running things. The women are the leaders of the family. The roles are not right, so it makes the family weak. Because most families, the men are not in control. The men are not leading. They are not leaders. So yes, that family is weak. And when a family is weak, a society is weak. It affects all of us. A lot of you saying, well, It's not your business, Roosevelt. Yes, it is. It is. Because if you have a weak family, it grows into making a weaker society. So it is my fucking business. Men, be a man. Stop letting or allowing your wives to be leader of your family. That is a role that was made for you. You're supposed to be the leader of the family. You are the leader of your family. You are the protector of your family. Your role is king, not queen. You know, your role is general, not the damn colonel. You are number one, not number two. Men, take your roles. Be the leader of your family in the way that it was supposed to be. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't listen to your wives or your way or the highway. I'm not saying that. Like I said before, a real man knows when to take input from from his wife. Being a good leader is listening to others and then making a good, sound decision. But you are the leader. Man, take your role. Be a man and stop being a weak motherfucker. Because if you don't stop the cycle continues and it affects society as a whole, and families get worse and worse and worse. Stop the cycle. Take your role in the way that it was supposed to be. Be leader of your family. Make a better society. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the X and Y Show, my 100th episode. I'm so happy. Really, I am. And I'm glad to be back. I was sick, but I'm glad to be back. And there's a lot of things coming down the pipe with the X and Y Show, so stay tuned. I'm working on a lot of things. The X and Y Show will get bigger and better as time go by, because I am the leader. You see what I did with that? Oh, all right. Now be sure to check out the XY Show and subscribe to whatever listening venue that you listen to. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Stitcher. I'm on TuneIn. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Blueberry Radio, Google Podcasts, Castbox. That says Spotify. I think it says Spotify. I'm on iHeartRadio as well. And my main platform is from Spreaker. So be sure to listen and subscribe to your favorite listening tool. I'm also on social media. I'm on iTunes, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. And you can find all of that on my website, which is www.thexyshow.com. www.thexyshow.com. You can find all of my social media and my listening platforms there, and also upcoming episodes as well. You can also use the contact form to listen to me, say hello, ask questions, recommendations on future episodes, or just say hello, or constructive criticism, anything you would like to say. There's a contact form as well on my site. There's also XY Store, where you can buy a t-shirt right now and coffee mugs, and also some nice Halloween stuff in there as well. And I will have some Thanksgiving and Christmas stuff in there as well when the seasons come, so keep an eye out for it. Everything is on the site. Remember, www.thexyshow.com. So that concludes the 100th episode of the X and Y Show, and I want you all to remember that you cannot have love without X and Y. Later.
You've been listening to The X and Y Show with your host, Roosevelt Colbert, the place where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. Join us next time. You can now put your clothes back on. Or not.